Hey kids, it is Mrs. Donahue and it is Act 2, Scene 1. Now, it is important that we keep the timeline of events kind of crisp in our minds. So in Act 1, we started the day with a fight breaking out between the Capulets and the Montagues. Then by lunchtime, Lord Capulet had been yelled at by the prince. He was over it. He's talking to Paris. Paris wants to marry Juliet. He's like, you got to give it a couple of years, but I'm having a party. Why don't you come to my house? We're going to celebrate, let loose, be cash. You can meet my daughter, maybe see if you two get along. It'll be nice. Paris is like, sounds great. Romeo and Benvolio meet the servant with the guest list and find out about the party, and they're there because Rosalind's there, the girl that Romeo is in love with. So it's that night that they go to the masquerade party. This is day 1. At the masquerade, Romeo walks in, looks across the room, sees Juliet, and is like, well, at least the party wasn't a wasted opportunity here. And he moves immediately on from Rosalind and goes towards Juliet. He realizes when she's pulled away by the nurse and Lord Capulet's like, okay, party's over, everyone go home. He realizes that Juliet's a Capulet and she realizes he's a Montague. So now we're at the night after the party, but we're still on the first day. That being said, the boys are leaving the party the night of that first day. Romeo's being pulled out of the party by his friends. And first of all, you guys are far too young to party, but when you do, it is against all friend code to leave a man behind. You don't leave a man behind even if they are a real pain to get into the car. So the fact that Benvolio and Mercutio don't do any kind of real recon work to get this guy back, serious violation. But Romeo, can I go forward when my heart is here? Turn back, dull earth, and find thy center out. He literally climbs the private backyard garden wall of the Capulet estate when he's supposed to be leaving the party. And don't forget, Lord Capulet went out on a limb here to say to Tybalt, don't attack Romeo in my house. He's not doing anything wrong. And now Romeo's breaking and entering. Benvolio and Mercutio come into the scene right as Romeo goes over the fence, and they are looking for him, which is solid friend points to them. Benvolio's crying out for him. And Mercutio's like, you know what, man, he's probably home asleep. He didn't even want to come anyway. And then Benvolio's like, come on, I think he climbed the wall. And Mercutio's like, no, we're not climbing the wall. And he starts making fun of Romeo by calling over the wall, like, Romeo, humors, madman, passion, lover, appear thou in the likeness of a sigh. Speak one rhyme and I'll be satisfied. Cry but ah me, and pronounce but love and dove, and speak to my gossip Venus one fair word, one nickname for her purblind son and heir. So he's making fun of him, like, man, do I hear you crying over there? Just let me know you're all right, man. Are you sitting there weeping in a corner? If I must conjure him, I conjure thee. So he's trying to summon him, and he's making fun of him, because don't forget, this is all Mercutio does, is make fun of people. I conjure him, I conjure thee, by Rosalind's bright eyes, and her high forehead, scarlet lip, her fine foot, straight leg, and quivering thigh, and the dimness of that there adjacent eye, in that thy likeness thou appear to us. So he's making fun of him. If I talk about Rosalind, you'll surely appear. And he talks about Rosalind in fairly racy terms, like how people in Elizabethan England were dressed, neck to ankle, right? So for him to say, I conjure you by her fine foot, her straight leg, and her quivering thigh, how far up her body does that dress have to be hiked for him to be talking about her thigh? So these are fairly racy and a little inappropriate in the way of jokes, but he's trying to say something that he knows will offend Romeo, so Romeo pops out of the woodwork and is like, you stop talking about my woman like that. They have no idea that Rosalind is old news. They have no idea that he's over her. The last they heard from their boy an hour ago, he was desperately in love with Rosalind. So they're working on the information they have. And Benvolio goes, come on, man, if he hears you talk about her like that, he's going to be angry. And Mercutio could not care less if what he says angers his best friend. To be fair, if it was not his best friend, he also would not care. This is going to be part of Mercutio's problem. Benvolio and Mercutio are then basically saying, if we can't go in there and go get him, and we shouldn't go into the garden to go get him, because we don't know that he's in there. We think he's in there. And it's late, we've all gone to the party, it's time to go home. Let's just hope he went home already. Let's not push our luck, right, by getting in further trouble. And Mercutio is like, yeah, I'm tired, so we're leaving. And they leave him. They leave him. Again, you never leave a man behind. This is how bad things happen. So they should never have just walked away from him, but they did. In terms of like language in this scene, there's a few fun parts, mostly coming from Mercutio. He's the chatterbox, and sometimes the chatterbox comes out with some really cool ways of expressing himself. But for the most part here, this is just kind of filler progress. It goes on to the next scene. So I'll see you in scene 2.